Thomas, we're told this is an historic document, but as a scholar and as a European, what is historic about this document?
Well, number one, it is just the number of Christians represented, and I even would say the number of people of a world religion represented, which is 90% plus by the three bodies, the Catholic Church, the World Council of Churches, and World Evangelical Alliance. That has never been done before. And it is not only just a document signed, but it has been a process working together. The three bodies really have got together closer with each other. And the content is not just a general statement on politics or something, but it is really a core theological statement stating what mission is, stating what ethics is, and how the two go together.
How did these three world bodies, you got the Roman Catholic Church, the World Council of Churches, which represents a number of mainline churches, and the World Evangelicals, which represents between 600 to 700 million. How did you get them together?
Well, I think if you look back, of course, there are changes in all those three bodies in the last decades that are behind it. The Catholic Church has turned to religious freedom and has gotten out of politics more and more. The World Council of Churches had major changes after the fall down of communism, and of course the evangelicals have developed. And it's a historic time to find out that this has led us together in many things. I mean, for example, mission. Mission was debated, are we in favor or not? Now we can meet on saying mission is the essence of the church. That's the first sentence of the new statement. But at the same time, we can talk about misusing of mission, unethical means of mission, and that never has been possible before.
You're director of the Religious Liberties Commission worldwide. What interest does it have in this document?
I think it is very vital to see that mission and ethics, and that's also human rights ethics, are very closely related. The World Evangelical Alliance, from its beginning, was interested in mission and in religious freedom. And so, of course, it is very interesting, where are the borders? Where do you do mission in a way that you cross the border and you violate the human freedoms of others? There is the blaming of Christian mission, that they violate the human dignity of people. And
especially
of course,
evangelicals have been criticized for that.
Yeah, of course. And of course, if you look into history, the Crusades, etc., of course, Christianity has done this. Yeah? And I think it's very vital to say that the center of the Christian gospel is that Jesus not only gave us the task to preach the gospel, but he clearly told us in which way to do it. So we shouldn't pray for fire falling from heaven. We should not put force on people. We should even not insist too often. If people say no, we should accept that there is a no. And I think it's very vital to see that we do not have to decide ourselves either to preach the truth, and then we have to offend people all the day, or we have to work towards peace and religious freedom, living together in a society with each other. But the two things go together.
So was religious liberty the driving force behind this?
Yes, that's no question. It was the question, where are the boundaries of mission, where we no longer respect the religious freedom of others. Of course, this is the base on which we then can protest when our religious freedom is violated, or any religious freedom is violated.
Are evangelicals guilty of crossing that line of religious freedom in their enthusiasm to make Christ known?
Well, I wouldn't say automatically. But of course, there are cases where this can happen. We are human beings, we are sinners. We can do evangelism for gaining money. I mean, the Bible warns us not to misuse preaching the gospel to gaining money, and why should evangelicals be an exception here? And I think the code is a huge chance for us to self-critically discuss with ourselves whether we really stick to this code.
So the code, this code that we're talking about, that's being affirmed today, that has workability on the ground?
Yeah, of course.
In what way?
Well, for example, if we say we should not combine preaching the gospel and offering gains, material gains to
like
people,
a job
or whatever, yeah, or that that you will get a doctor who will heal you, etc., etc. That we should not combine them, yeah, because the gospel is for free, and we help the poor, we help the needy, we help the ill people, yeah, but we should not combine them in a way that people think only if they become Christians they will get food or they will get schooling, yeah. If we don't keep this separate, I mean, we are clearly handling things wrongly, which Jesus clearly told us. And I think there's a lot of things we have to discuss among each other.
Now, and as a scholar and concerned with the theological integrity of our evangelical witness, in working together with these other two bodies, was there ever a danger that we might water down our theology, our sense of Christ and the gospel, to get an agreement with the other two bodies?
No, no. I mean, the danger for the whole process was not so much in the center of the theology. Yeah? As you can clearly see from the first sentence that clearly states mission is the essence of the church. It was more political problems, it was more members of the different bodies who didn't like the process. I think it was very clear from the very beginning that we as evangelicals only would sign a document where we have a good conscience, line by line. Yeah? That this would not be a compromising document where we say, okay, 10 lines are against what we believe, but 100 lines are in favor of it. So, yeah. And I have to say, when you read the document, you can say line by line, even so, it is also what the Pontifical Council of Interreligious Dialogue is saying and what the World Council of Churches is saying. Every line is something that a dedicated evangelical can sign.
Did this surprise you that we arrived here today?
Yes, yes. I mean, there have been times within the process where all parties thought we will not make it. Yeah, where we had certain ideas that would have to go into the document, or where there was a discussion, should we quote Bible verses or not, and which Bible verses should we quote, and someone suggested to not quote the Great Commission, and that of course was a problem to us. And it was amazing that the majority of people involved always found something in common in the end, and which is not the smallest denominator, but that really represents what mission is, but also that there is no mission without a good biblical ethics.
So you don't have to hold your nose over any of it?
Pardon? Sorry.
Hold your nose, that's a North American.
Oh, yeah.
Let me go to something else. What will this do for the activity of evangelism, in your view?
Well, on the one side, it is a big backing of any preaching of the gospel, because it clearly says there is no Christianity without preaching the gospel. On the other side, it brings us down to the everyday work of evangelism, where we every time have to assure ourselves that the way we do it is the way how Jesus would have done it. I mean, that sounds very simple, but Jesus didn't force people. Jesus, I mean, he loved people. He did it in favor of them. And he spoke with the poor. He spoke with outcasts. And all this is part of the identity of Jesus and the task he has given us. And I think there is nothing like we preach the gospel and later on we think about how we do it. Mm-hmm. But the way we do it and the message we preach, they really go together. I cannot preach the love of God and you feel that I hate you. I mean, that's impossible. So if we sit down and say, is something in what we do typical for hate? Does it tell people that we really hate them? And that is nothing we should think afterwards. This is nothing that goes against the gospel, but it is part of preaching the gospel to always think about how we do it and to do it in an ethical, in a biblical way and not with unethical means.